Welcome to another episode of Talk to the Doctor. Today, I'm here with Matthew James Hamilton, also known as Hammy. How we refer to him, basically, but you know, he has his Christian given name. And I want to say hello to the Haminator. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Joseph, Mr. Cave Doctor.
Okay, yes, thank you very much. You're welcome. And you know what? I really do want to just dive straight into your freak show.
Okay.
Which I feel like is like, you know, Gromhood, right?
Yeah.
And at what point do you remember clicking into the gear where you kind of felt like you were getting to know, you know, what interested you? You know what I mean? Like when you're a little kid and you don't know shit, and then all of a sudden there's a moment, whether it was surfing or music or whatever it was that clicked you in.
I was lucky enough as a little kid to know that I wanted to do art and music right away because I was inherently good at it. Cool. And I didn't realize that, but that's just all I did, right? My sister got piano lessons, and I would sit and watch piano lessons and be jealous. And
How old?
I was probably 6, maybe 7.
6 years old. You're watching your sister play get piano lessons.
I wanted piano lessons, but I would listen and pay attention over playing Legos, you know, like, and then so I as soon as they would leave, I would naturally fill in and start being melodic, and you know, and I was our artist at a young age. So I was lucky to know that's who I was, you know. The problem with that is that it's not a very lucrative path as far as like, I want to be a engineer or something like that, or I'm going to be a lawyer, you know, totally. Where it's a clear path. So I stuck with music from an early age. I learned to play cello and clarinet. I played in the school bands.
The first instrument you picked up
was a cello.
Damn.
Well, piano technically, because that was at home.
Okay, the piano was at home. You were messing with that.
I mean,
you picked up
to be honest, the first instrument I picked up was actually a synthesizer that my mom and dad gave me because I was such a like gear geek. They had this thing back in the day, you might remember, called Soap on a Rope, and it looked like a microphone, right? But
I remember that.
It was a piece of soap, and I used to walk around in airports because my dad's an aviator, right? So we're kind of a nomadic family. We were always traveling. As a family of 5, you know, 2 sisters, myself, and my mom and my dad. So we were all over the world, and I would interview people in the airport, like with a soap on a rope. Yeah, just like walking up to strangers. So tell me, you know, and I'm like 6 or 7, you know.
Cool.
So that's how it started, and I just stuck with music. I got really good at it because I was pretty nerdy with it, and I just understood it, you know. So I stayed with it, and I went from that synthesizer I was telling you about that my parents got me, which was just a toy, but it made really cool sounds. It had dials almost like a Mooger Fooger, and it would go,
I remember those things.
And do all kinds of cool shit.
I remember those.
That's kind of what was fascinating to me because I was like, you can do this, you know? And that was just a toy. But then I moved into cello and then clarinet, and I got really good at the clarinet. And I was like, you know, a lead clarinetist. So I got the first chair, if you will, in a choir.
At what age?
Probably 8, I think.
8 years old, first chair in the choir on the clarinet.
Yeah. And then that evolved into, you know, playing cello and clarinet and going, but that becomes not very cool as you approach junior high school.
Yeah, clarinet,
And 6th grade, you start to go, something's not right here.
I took clarinet lessons too, and in 6th grade.
Yeah. And I was good at it, and I loved it, you know, but
the reed.
I realized, so I turned my cello into a guitar, basically. And I would play my cello as if it was a guitar. I turned it sideways.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, I'm a guitar player, you know, because that's chicks dig guitar players. It's way cooler, right? Than I got my cello, you know, I'm coming to 7th grade.
Cello.
Yeah. So I started playing guitar around that time, 7th grade, and became obsessive about it, you know, where I was just like what they call woodshedding, just in my room alone, you know, with Black Sabbath blaring, just like my dad was like, I'm going to kill you. So, but because I blew up his stereo because I didn't have an amp. So I took my cable, and the old school stereos like we have, if you put your cable into your guitar and then into the headphone jack, it comes out the speakers and it sounds sick. It's like an amp cranked on the gain. Oh. So I was in there destroying his speaker system, thinking that I was Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath. But I learned quick, you know, and that brought me to all my peers really quickly because they were like, oh, you play guitar, and oh, you play guitar. Like, wow, okay.
And who were these people?
The people that I identify with the guitar right away was Gavin Day, a guy named Gavin Day.
Totally.
My dear friend and brother, and Hans Sylstra was the other guy. And there was a crew, too, around them, like Josh Baxter and Chris Barnum.
That crew.
Drop a lot of names. You're going to need a broom to sweep them up here. But Yeah, those were my peers, and I looked up to them. I admired them so much because they were all great surfers, so much better than me at the time. You know, I was just kind of kooking my way through it, but I could play. So there was a thing for me. I saw it right away. I was like, dude, I think I found my lane.
You're hanging out with these great surfers.
Yeah.
I remember too. I remember that day, and you used to cruise over, and we'd be all hanging out a little bit after that.
Yeah.
But a little bit after that. But then we'd be chilling, and everyone would be surfing, and you were surfing too. But where we would all just be like, you would kick it at like Shane and Dino's house. Or whatever,
that's how I
pick up the guitar, and we would just be sitting there going, whoa. Like, honestly, I remember those moments.
Right. You remember, huh?
We were very encouraging of that.
You were.
Because
you guys were so
me
kind.
And Fatty and Dino and Kappa came by all
Bro,
the time.
you guys were all best friends, too. Lifelong
we're all best
friends.
You know, who was there? So many guys were there.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It was a lot of guys. And it was, the thing that was fascinating for me is that it was surrounded by pro surfers.
Totally.
So my best friend, when I was coming into that realm of surfing and music and sort of seeing it kind of, oh, wow, you know, was a guy named Jerome Waitman, right? So, and he was a little bit younger than me, but we were on par in the same thing, except for he was a way better surfer than me, you know?
Okay.
So it was the same connection, though, but we actually were neighbors and friends, and we got down with it, you know? Because I was a little bit on the outside with those guys looking in, but with Jerome, he's my best.
At this age?
Yeah, 13 probably.
Oh, 13.
Yeah, 13, 14.
Oh, yeah, that was before we were, okay.
Yeah, that was
6 or so years before that.
When I got with those guys on the acoustic guitars and we started, you know, playing a lot, we got better quickly.
Sick.
Like a symbiotic, you know, like thing with two heads kind of thing, you know, where we still have that today.
You and Jerome.
Yeah, as bandmates in our band.
Which is called what?
The Trolsen County Brothers.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a cool band for sure.
That's a fictitious place. Yeah, it doesn't exist on Google Maps. Sorry, but we made it up.
No, but that's brilliant.
Yeah, well, it's fun too because we never identified with Orange County.
Yeah.
Even though Orange County is a rad place.
Well, especially it was. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, you know, it had its moments that I think peaked, but now it's overly built and overly populated, but it's still cool.
It's still cool.
It's just not as cool.
It's my home, and I love it.
Exactly.
Passionately love it.
Yeah, we love it.
We've been all over the world.
And it's still a bitchin' place.
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here. Well, you know, it's just our roots. It's hard to get away from it, you know?
Yeah.
But so you and Jerome.
We're flapping about music and surfing combining. So
coming together.
I jumped ahead to those years, the Dino and Shane years, because, you know, those guys were so kind to me, and they all played guitar, and so the only thing that I could offer was like, I'm gonna tune all your guitars perfectly, you know. And they were surfers just ripping, but they could play still. Totally. So they would be stoked that they would get their guitars tuned, you know, and then I could kind of hang and these guys were on my wall, you know what I mean? I had posters of them on my wall, dude. Right? And for me, I was like, oh my god, dude, that's like, those are the guys, you know. And we always remember sitting down, and we'd be all kicking it after a surf session, you know. We're talking, I don't know, we're talking like early 90s. Yeah, it'd have to be like 91, maybe 90. From there forward, we had this kind of crew. It was right there. You know, 30 something years ago, we had this crew that was, you know, there were Shane. And these were focused individuals. They were not just like your stereotypical stoner surfers. They were fucking driven athletes with a mission to kill all. Yeah, and just murder people on the process, you know? Yeah, surf the best they could, make some money doing it, and achieve a certain amount of personal freedom to travel. So inspiring. And how music fits into that is so beautiful. Yeah. Because every one of us as surfers just thrives on music, although it might be different kinds of music. Music is such a part of surfing. And it is. So to be a surfer musician is so natural. It is. It's an ambidextrous language in a global perspective. Wow. Right? What an no matter where you go in the world, music is the common denominator between really culture, color, creed, all of it. So I realized that very soon too, as a young traveler, was like, I ain't going anywhere without this guitar. Oh my gosh, you could just start playing. And as a shy kid, I could always hide behind my guitar, you know, and it was my true essence anyways, so it didn't matter. It was like, cool. I remember that. You know, and I realized it would bring me into a lot of scenarios when I was alone traveling with my guitar. I was like, next thing you know, I had a pad. Totally. Place to stay, you know, maybe a board to ride, or like a friend with lunch that was, you know, it's magnetic. You know? Yes. It's magnetic, right? You don't got to be, you know, like,
so social. You could just let your guitar do the talking, right?
Yeah.
Which, now, let's talk a little bit about where these travels took you.
As a young guy, like I said, my dad was an aviator. So I traveled the whole world before I was even 10 years old, you know.
So what did he do?
He was an airline pilot
For
a bunch of airlines, but it
Okay.
all started in San Clemente with a company called Air Cal. We were in Singapore, flying over there, and we lived in Singapore as a family.
And you were how old?
I was second grade probably.
Living in Singapore.
Yeah, second grade I was in Singapore.
Trippy place. I've been there.
Yeah, and I went to a place called Singapore American School, and it was all Aussies, mate.
Yeah, bloody good.
Yeah, bloody Aussies
Oh,
everywhere,
yeah,
mate. Yeah, so
Wow.
we had fun. You know, it was a neat place.
Cool
I had
experience,
a cross-eyed bus driver. It was pretty crazy. But
so
culturally, we were already steeped because of my parents, right?
Yeah.
So as a family, we were a unit, we're a traveling unit, just
you
cruising.
two sisters, mom and dad.
Yeah, and then we made it to LA through Air Cal. He got a job from Garuda Airlines in Indonesia, and then he landed a job at LAX.
Those planes, you lucky
Yeah.
they land. Sorry,
Right?
Garuda. I mean, the numbers aren't great for that airline.
I don't know. Is Garuda still in business?
I don't know.
I don't
but
think
man,
so.
they drop out of the. Anyway, so.
Sorry,
I mean,
Garuda.
wow. I remember when I was over in that part of the world, and I was like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on Thai Airways or Singapore Airlines, which are like
The Garuda bird's like a sacred Polynesian symbol, right?
nothing against a Garuda bird.
No.
Okay, but the thing is whoa. I'm actually when I travel, I do a fair amount of research about the airlines
Yeah.
because I don't just jump on a plane casually. I'm not super comfortable at 30,000 feet. I just want to
No,
throw it out
me
there.
neither.
Okay, the stewardess
I
comes
never
up
wanted
and
to be a
is- You know,
pilot.
it's like, the stewardess comes up and goes,
Yeah.
would you like orange juice or apple juice? And I'm like, lady, at 30,000 feet, I'll take whatever you got.
Right.
Okay? Because
Thank
I don't
you
know.
very-
I'm not
oh
that
my
comfortable,
gosh.
right? I got friends, like we flew to Cabo, 30-something years ago, and Dino was asleep
Yeah.
before the plane took off.
Yeah,
and he
see-
slept the whole flight, and he landed when we landed. He woke up, and I was going, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no worries."
That was
And I'm sitting
easy.
there the whole time, a little high strung. I mean, I'm just not comfortable in a metal bird, 30,000
Me neither.
feet in the air. To be
Me
honest,
neither.
but I love doing it because I love traveling.
Yeah.
So whatever, but I don't know where I got off on that tangent.
No,
but so where did you guys were? Okay,
So travel. We were
Singapore,
talking about travel. Yeah, we came from
Back to
Singapore to
Cali.
LA.
LA.
LA, and my dad got a job out of LAX.
And how did we find this little Spanish village by the sea? He got a job in LA. But
He got a job in LA, and then my mom was commuting to work down at the Mission Viejo Hospital.
Okay.
So she was working in the pathology department, as doing her thing, and she would go to San Clemente.
Or she just because it's a natural.
After work,
What are
she
you
would
gonna do? You're
drive.
gonna hang out in Mission
Yeah.
Viejo? Let's keep
Well,
it
no,
real.
she was always an ocean woman,
Totally.
from an early age, right? The ocean was all the pictures of us are
At the beach.
in Kauai, Laguna, Indonesia. She was the ocean lady.
What a bummer.
Yeah, so that's where I got it from.
Oh, wow.
He was a football player. She's an ocean lady.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that brought us to San Clemente. Ultimately, was her love of San Clemente, and
Beautiful.
and we ended up moving up to the south side of San Clemente and renting a place while he would commute to LA. And
Well, we're here in the south side of San Clemente right now.
yeah,
mister.
we
Back
certainly
to
are.
your roots,
Freshly paved
baby.
roads.
I know it's all smooth, but the thing is back to your roots, right at the
Yeah.
core, right at the base.
Yeah,
I
and
mean-
that's where I met all you guys.
Yeah.
Basically was
Yeah.
that entry, 13 or 12 coming in. And
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
and then you start. So where else did your travels take you, if you don't mind me asking? Let's break it down, mister.
Once I got here, I was
You're good.
I was stationary until our dear friend Shane Beshin was like, "You want to come to Hawaii with me?" And I was 16,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Yes, I'm. Yes.
Yes.
And he's
That would
like,
be a yes.
"Oh, we're going to the Big Island. We're going to stay with Conan Hayes and Dorian." So Shane Dorian's probably 15 at that time,
Yeah.
14. And so I ended up going on a trip with Shane. My parents let me go, and I went, and we had a great time. And it was pumping when we got there. And
To the Big Island?
yeah, there's a place
you
called
guys surf-
H Bay. Well, we surfed
yeah,
this
H Bay, yeah.
where there's some spots, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't need to name them all, but
Yeah, but God, it's a trippy place for surf.
dude, the first day we got there, Dorian takes us to this spot, this crazy slab lava rock thing right on the lava
They all
rock.
are.
Yeah, they all are, right? And I'm on the shoulder, right? And I have no stickers on my board either. And the kid's looking at me going, "Where's all your stickers, bro?" I'm like, "I don't have any sponsors, And I'm on the shoulder watching, and they're over there like trying to go toe to toe because they're two young competitive groms. And
Totally.
something happened. Shane got hurt, broke his board, and hurt his feet.
Our Shane?
Our Shane, first
Shane-
day,
Shane
cut,
Basham
yeah,
did?
cut
Oh.
his feet really bad
Yeah, what a surprise on the lava.
on the lava,
Gosh,
and he
that
got
stuff's
totaled.
so
He was
gnarly,
totaled.
yeah. fried.
He ended up playing guitar the whole trip, and I ended up cruising with Dorian the whole trip,
Wow.
which was bitching.
Totally.
Because that was before he was Shane Dorian. You know?
Gosh.
He was just, hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Shane, wow.
But another focused young man, you know, that
Yeah.
was like,
Big time.
I remember him telling me, I'm gonna be the best surfer in the world, and I was like, you're pretty cocky, you know. But he was fucking dead serious,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And he did it, so
Yeah.
that is impressive. All those guys, though, they all did that. They all had that competitive spirit that I identified with, because I got that from my dad. He played for Joe Paterno at Penn State. He was a fullback, an All-American fullback.
Damn. 6
6 feet tall, but fire hydrant legs, built totally different than me. I'm more like my grandfather's stick figure, you know.
Not going to be playing football.
That's the giraffe.
But I know
side
you're
of
good
it.
at the hoops.
I've tried football.
Come on, hoop
I
doctor.
did. I played football for
Yeah.
2 years. Got detonated, blew out my shoulder, got yelled at. You know, I was over it.
I just feel like basketball's your
Dude, back then, all the best athletes in San Clemente got lost to surfing in a way, because,
guaranteed.
and the coaches were pissed because
Totally.
we didn't have that high caliber football team that we do now. It was kind of there was other teams. There was El Toro and
Totally.
Trabuco Hills, and
Yeah, they were.
you know
good,
what I
yeah.
mean. They were way gnarlier. But
Just like Mission Viejo was swimming.
yeah, they
right?
were like pro,
swimming.
almost.
Like,
Yeah,
you know, they
Greg
had-
Louganis and
Yeah,
like
they had all these divers
gnarly
and
Olympic
swimmers.
athletes
Yeah.
coming out of high school.
We had surfers.
We had surfers.
Best surfers in the world coming out of here.
So I
Thank you
quit
very
all
much.
that to surf.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's so fun, and it's just such an
fun.
awesome lifestyle. And
Yeah, when you're doing stairs in the summer, puking, and it's going off so swell, you're like, dude, I'm done with this, you know.
I like doing stairs, so come on.
I know.
But anyway, yeah, I know what you mean.
But-
I cross over all that for
Yeah.
myself. You know that about
But
me.
you're the fitness doctor.
You know, I just really love being active.
I do
You know,
too.
Even if it's
I do
not about
too.
fitness, it's really just about blood flow and oxygenation and protein synthesis and about 20 other things.
Yeah, that's
As
where
it
surfing
relates
comes in,
to surfing is like it can kick. You know, it can actually. There's a blend. I've always
Yeah.
believed in training as connected to surfing. We're back. You know, a long time ago. It was
I need
more
to
like,
bulk up. After watching Hausman surf lately, I'm like, dude, let's do some squats, kid. Are you kidding me? I need to fucking bulk up. How do I put 20 pounds on?
Gosh,
How do you
he
do
is
that?
So
I don't.
Just
Dude, he's a meat eater. He's just so gnarly.
meat eater.
Anyways,
He's just
surfing, yeah, surfing is health. Surfing is life. So the two, music and surfing, were inherently my thing, and art too. But
and they come together in such a way where
Yeah.
you know, here you are traveling with Shane, meeting the other Shane.
Yeah.
And you know, your music, it's just as things come together, let's push forward a little bit. Let's just say in our early 20s. And at what point
early 20s.
did you click into actually like thinking about, okay, my place in the world? It really comes down to like, how do I make my living?
Yeah, I never had that. I used to drive my dad insane because, you know, he had this thing where he would ask, I'd be turned 25.
What are you gonna do?
He'd be like, happy birthday, son. You're 30 now. And I'd be like, no, Dad, I'm 25. He's like, yeah, you're 30. And he had that
Look
vision
forward,
of an older man going, hey, 30's right around the corner, as we all know now.
Plan for it.
I'm 53 now. So it makes sense to me now. And I love those things that I remember about him, you know, that were so wise. And I didn't like it at the time, but now I look back in retrospect, I'm like, dude, what a beautiful person. You know, he was like, cared about me more than anyone, you know? So, but yeah, around 25, I was doing the thing with Hans and Gavin. We had a band called Seal Rock. There's a rock outside of our home break, and it's called Seal Rock. And we would always look out there, you know, at Lost Winds and look out and see the seals. And one day we were just like, let's call it Seal Rock, you know? And so
Well, it's perfect because it's rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it's Seal Rock and it's Talk to the Doc.
And Gavin had this killer house at the beach. It was his
did.
family house. And the way that they got there was crazy because, you know, their family, he grew up there and that was the hang. And we all sort of assimilated to that house, you know, it was right on the beach and everyone was hanging. It was just a really cool place to be at the time. And there was a lot of great characters, you know, and we had this little band in his garage, you know, and it was Seal Rock, and we were dead serious about it. We were like Leonard Skinner focused, you know, do it again, sweating, you know what I mean? Like, and which was intoxicating for all of us because we truly had that common denominator of surfing and music were the most primary things. We did not have career goals. We did not have distractions like I want to be an engineer or a lawyer.
Yeah, you guys wanted
There was
to
none
do
of that in the
music
peripheral.
and
We
surf.
were super
Music.
aligned, you
Seal
know,
Rock.
which makes for a great band.
So give me the lineup on that.
That was Derek Harris on drums,
Right.
Gavin Day on bass,
Yes.
Hans Sylstra on rhythm lead and lead vocals, and I was the lead guitarist.
Incredible.
So we had a
lineup.
little 4-pack, you know?
Yeah, and I want to relate a little bit real quick to Derek Harris on the drums.
Yeah.
Reminds me a little bit of Keith Moon. Okay?
Animal. Keith
Just
Moon's
an
his
animal.
hero, dude.
I didn't even know that,
Yeah.
but I know that the way Derek played for Seal Rock and the way his energy was, he's just
I
raw.
know. He used
He's
to
just
hit so
just
hard.
sit so
And it would be like, as the more Coors Lights that went down, the harder he would hit and the better we would sound. I was like, that's weird.
Would that be better? Sound better because you also were drinking more Coors
Yeah.
Light? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the tricky
And
thing.
you guys played parties down at
we
down
played
on the
parties.
beach
We
and
threw our
just
own
all over the
parties.
place,
Yeah, we were just like, we used to have this thing where we'd run an extension cord from Roy Gonzalez's mom's house out of the garage, down the hill.
Down the beach.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And we'd have a couple bands. Like it'd be like Warp and like Sacred Haze,
Yeah.
you know?
That was sick.
Yeah, Clint Carroll's band.
Clint Carroll's
Yeah,
band War.
and Rocky Neidhart.
And yeah, Rocky and
Remember
Billy.
all those
and,
cats? Yeah,
was that
Billy
a 3-pack?
Murphy.
There was 3.
They had a couple different iterations of that group.
Oh,
But
Scott came
Scott came.
Scott Lane.
Scott Lane.
With Warp,
He was
yeah.
a sick puppy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
on every level. And then of course Sacred Haze, which really a phenomenal band at the time, right? If we're really talking about
Sacred Haze was my main inspiration for local bands.
Carrie Hayes,
Them,
fair to say?
Yeah, well, them
Let's give it up to Carrie.
and Johnny Monster.
And Johnny Monster.
Because Johnny Monster
Johnny
was
Fields.
real. John Fields.
Damn.
It was basically one of the most brilliant guitarists
From
ever.
this town,
for
ever,
sure.
for
I don't
sure.
know everybody here, obviously, but I can say that John Fields is probably one of the most,
We'd probably have to say the most.
gifted guitarists.
Like
there's a tricky thing with that because people are like, dude, you're so talented, and it's like, you know what? Talent doesn't come cheap. It's like,
Yes.
I can put my time in, bro. So
Yes.
there's a reason luck is cultivated, right? It's not just in
Yeah.
your lap because
You're
you're
not
so
just born
talented.
into it.
No,
No,
dude,
yeah.
you got to work hard for every ounce
Oh,
you get.
dude, it's like when people say to me, that the stay fit thing, oh, you're just a freak, kid.
Yeah.
No.
Doesn't work like that.
No, I work for my shit.
Yes,
all
sir.
right? I didn't just born into where
Right.
No, I did it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So that was our band was aligned because no one had a job and we lived at the beach and all we did was surf and party.
What a bummer.
And we had a house. Gavin's house was our house.
And it was a sick house.
It was a sick house.
Right up there above Las Buenas.
Yes.
Come on.
And we would spend our summers in Porto, charging Porto. They were all hip to Porto, and I was like, Porto, what's Porto? And they're like, we're going to Porto. So we go to Porto Escondido and we went back in the day when it was, wide open.
And you guys played down there?
No, we would
just
surf down there.
Yeah,
but it was, like I said, it was very singular. There was no peripheral action, it was just
we
like.
surfed. We played music.
And that's a beautiful time in my life as far as reflecting on that because it's a rare moment in time
that
and
you
space.
get to do that.
With 4 of your best friends.
That you get to be that free.
Yeah, and they're all aligned on the same mission, And they're such high caliber surfers that me on the bottom rung, looking up to these guys going, dude, look at that. I'm going deeper. I'm going to go deeper. And,
Oh my gosh.
Gavin's taking off behind the peak. Okay, I got to go deeper. So that was inspirational
admit,
too.
he's a
dude,
really
all those
good
guys.
surfer.
Hans,
really good. Derek, everyone.
all
They're
of
all
them.
really good.
Charging,
right?
charging.
And so are you.
We'd go to Hawaii, but you know what I mean. I was always
you were kind of
in that.
chasing it a little bit.
I was because I was just wow. These guys are amazing.
Well, first of all, I just want to throw it out there. How tall are you?
6'5".
I'm just gonna say this. How many surfers on tour? 6'5"?
Britt Merrick isn't on tour, but he's 6'5".
No one on tour is 6'5".
No.
I don't think there's ever.
Cole's the
been.
biggest boy, but he looks
He's
like a
6'3".
baseball player.
Maybe
to me.
6'4". I don't think anyone's ever
Yeah.
been 6'5" on tour.
Maybe
Simon
Wes
Anderson.
Lane was 6'4".
Okay, I just don't remember 6'5".
No, 6'5" is
So what I'm
mutant.
saying is not trying to give any excuse or whatever. It's pretty tough to be 6'5", and what you've become over the years. Your surfing is so liquid and so creative and so in the in the
you.
groove.
Wow.
It's incredible what you do at 6'5". I gotta say. Okay.
Website says 6'4".
Who?
Put some shoes on.
Who's
me.
6'4"?
Wes Lane was
is
6'4".
That's what I mean. I've never heard of
6'4".
6'5". Can we check Simon Anderson?
No,
Alex?
he's 6'2" range.
Oh, he's pretty tall.
But he's
He
big.
just gnarliest
6'3".
thing I've ever
I
seen
don't
done
know.
at Honolulu.
Owen Wright
Bay.
was pretty big too.
Simon 6'3".
6'3".
Yeah.
Good call. I don't think there's been a 6'5".
There's some Misto guys that Hans told me about from Australia and shit, but none of them were on tour.
No,
But he would tell me
I'm
stories.
just talking world
yeah.
tour. Just world tour.
tour, yeah.
Okay, not just because
That's it.
World tour. So that's what I'm saying for you is trying to throw you a bone here is, hey, if you were kind of catching up, maybe you started a little later, whatever, you're tall,
yeah.
lean. It's just tough. I feel like to get to your feet at 6'5",
Dude.
it's a gnarly thing. Like,
So gnarly. Learning in
gnarly.
the beach break of Laguna Beach, not knowing.
oh my gosh.
So my grandparents would stay in Laguna, and I would stay with them for the summer. And I didn't know. I was like,
No, this would just almost make you want to be on a boogie board
yeah.
just to try to.
My dad took me to Sano's once. After he's like, I don't think you should keep trying here. You're gonna get hurt, And I was like, really? And then We went to Sano's, and I was
Flow,
like,
just
oh, I saw the light.
an aha moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Good for you. Yeah, but at the same time, it's not like you became a longboarder. I mean, you'll surf on anything. I know you.
I'll ride anything.
You'll ride this table. But the thing is I know that you surf. You surf some short boards with a little bit of foam. I mean, you surf all kind of boards, but you didn't become a longboarder.
No.
Right?
No, not dude. Are you kidding? It's so boring. My friends rip at it. They're nose ride specialists. Some of our best friends are the best guys in the world.
One
of my best friends is the nose riding specialist of the world, Mr. Josh Baxter. Talk about influential humans.
He can
Him
really
and his father
nose ride.
Jackie.
And Jackie, yeah.
I mean, and his mom
his
Kathy,
Taylor,
rest in peace. All of those. Are you
I'm just
kidding
saying.
me?
Think about the, there's a lot of influences
Freak
for
shows.
that. But at the same time, I think we share this. It's shortboarding.
Dude, it was Dino and Shane
carving,
uppers.
just laying it down,
McElroy at uppers.
That's.
It was always hot rods. It was never
full on.
Dude, it was all about hot rods.
It's F1.
Yeah,
It's
F1. Ride or die.
Full on.
For sure.
So, I mean, that's what I relate to.
If it's half a foot, you'll see me on a longboard. No worries,
Exactly. When it's so small, I can't ride my shortboard.
Or I'm hurt. Recovering from injuries.
At what stage did you find yourself really being able to some degree, make a living? Like, did you ever get in a band with?
That's where we left off, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took a little detour.
We took a detour, but that's what we do.
That's what the show's all about. You're talking to the doctor.
In that Seal Rock band, we ended up getting some gigs, and we went through a couple iterations of that band as well, different drummers and things like that. And we started,
Was Casey in that band at one point?
Casey was not. Casey was in a band.
Casey was with, who was he with?
He was in a band called Jesus Chrysler with Joshua Paskowitz, Joshua McKendry.
Right. Casey was with them.
My other greatest teacher, Joshua McKendry. Wow.
Wow.
That guy did yoga before people even knew what yoga was.
Josh McKendry.
Yeah, and he was a great surfer as well.
Yes,
and
great surfer, incredible guitarist.
He always had a split lip from sunburn.
So much time.
We used to make him laugh, and he would get so mad because it would split, and we'd watch it bleed, and we'd laugh. But he was a rad guy. We used to break dance together, and he taught me about yoga at like 13.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude for sure.
Anyways,
that
band, Jesus Chrysler, was like our Led Zeppelin.
Definitely.
In a way, as young aspiring musicians. I was Casey Chopsky on drums, just a mammoth man.
Just a mammoth.
Yeah.
Joshua Paskowitz on singing, on
soaring
vocals. Just really guttural.
Jeff Poppenhagen on bass, just straight geezer Butler shit.
Blowing minds.
Super active, amazing bass player, Jeff Poppenhagen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
So all those guys were in the peripheral as like our rival band, maybe, because we were way different than them.
Yeah.
They were so gnarly. We were just.
Well, they were just, that was Black Sabbath, and you guys were like Crosby, Stills, and Nash, maybe.
Kind of. At that time, we were more Leonard Skinner-y.
Oh, Leonard.
We were kind of leaning towards Southern rock.
Yes. Yeah.
And we were getting a professional attitude. We were like, we're getting gigs. We're gonna sub. We got beer money or whatever. And and then. I think a gentleman named Emil McCowan came into our life, a.k.a. Odie, right?
Odie.
So Odie's in the picture.
Yeah.
And that's when it started to happen because Odie came from a totally different place. He came from Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And, that's about the time when The Chronic came out. I want to say Dr. Dre's The Chronic came out.
Yeah, early 90s,
And all of our focus shifted from Southern rock to like, fuck that. The Chronic is the shit, right? It took over the world kind of.
It did.
It really did. If you can remember how that album affected people,
it
just had a sound to it.
Dude,
it was fucking so different.
It really was.
And it tuned us all into that, to where we're like, oh, Leonard Skinner,
I mean,
we got that.
Sure.
Especially, at the time, because we were just like, dude, this is amazing,
Totally.
So we got into that music, and Odie was the new drummer in our band. And Odie's background was like, he was from Santa Monica. He was from a rad scene because if you remember like the Dogtown Boys and all that, they had a pool in their backyard. And Odie's best friend, Bella, that was his pool. So he was like a Dogtown guy. You know what I mean? Wow. Like on the peripheral, but he played in Black Flag when he was 15. So he was like this real LA guy that kind of came into our lives, and he had chops, dude. And he could play every instrument, and he was a musical director. He could tell you what to do and how to do it. And so we were just like, dude, you're the man.
I remember him
For me personally, it was that way.
Sure.
One of my biggest musical influences, Emil McCowan, for sure. Because I had never met anyone like that, and he was so talented and so on it. And
he
directed us. Yeah. He kind of became the musical director. And Hans had the talent and the songs to back him up,
Totally.
Odie didn't have the songs, but he had the chops. Hans had all the songs, and so there was this beautiful blend,
Yeah.
And I was a complimentary musician as a lead guitarist, so I could fill my gap. And we just had this great band, you know, and he started bringing in his guys that were reggae artists and stuff from Santa Monica. So we would go up there and we would play basketball, right?
Jump in the mix.
We'd jump in pickup games at Lincoln Park and things like that.
Yeah.
Because he loved hoops, right? And
Yeah.
I was tall, so he's like, dude, you come with
let's
me,
do this.
bang the boards. Give me the ball, you know? And I was like, dude, you're a terrible shooter. Just give me the ball and I'll lay it right in there, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, white man can't jump.
Oh, boy.
But we had, those were fun days,
White man
dude.
don't need to jump.
Right.
6'5", let's keep it alive, mister.
Yeah, we played a lot of basketball and we, you know, that was super cool.
That is super cool. That's
to
so cool.
get that kind of vibe into our music, so reggae and stuff like that. And we did some recordings at some really neat places. And Hans knew some people. You know, remember that band Big Mountain?
Yes.
I think they did a cover of Peter Frampton's "Ooh, Baby, I Love You."
I do. They did. Yeah.
Remember that song?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
their hit.
Yeah,
They've been
they're-
playing
yeah,
it for
yeah,
their whole
yeah,
career.
yeah.
This is a great song.
It is, yeah.
But that's who we got hooked up with because of Hans, and we recorded in their studio in San Diego, and it was sick. So now we had an album, we had a band, we had like real guys, you know, we were feeling real. Like you're talking about, well, this is kind of, we're like doing stuff, you
And
know?
you have that?
Those recordings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have them somewhere. I know Hans has them for sure, or Janine, his wife. Probably has them
Love to hear
somewhere.
that.
I have a lot of old recordings of us jamming in
Yeah.
the sweat box when we were cutting our teeth,
Just
you
even that
know?
recording, like, you know, what we're talking about. Maybe sick to hear that.
Yeah,
if we
it's
can
pretty
find that,
cool.
you know?
It came out sick. And we were all proud of it, you know, and the process was amazing, and we all learned a lot, and it was like unifying, another unifying experience for that band, you know, and then that we started getting gigs, and we played everywhere, you know, we were doing all the spots, and we were like, that's what we did, you know. We had jobs, we had construction jobs and shit like that, because it was just milk money, but
Sure.
it wasn't enough to sustain a career and say, oh, okay, you know, you have to be a
weren't paying your
touring
rent
band,
and everything
you got to
from
play
it, but,
200
yeah.
dates a year all over the country
to make
money.
money.
Yeah,
Enough to pay for your bills, yeah. But I mean, everyone still had jobs, but
yeah, everyone had jobs,
Yeah.
but we got together at night and we were playing live so much we didn't have to rehearse anymore. So it
because
was,
those, you know,
they were
keeping it
rehearsals,
liquid,
they were
yeah.
paid rehearsals,
Sick.
right? And so
It's funny. I hesitated to say that. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say it. But it is what it is.
yeah, it is what it is.
At,
We were
at a certain point.
at a certain point, and you're playing a lot of covers, and you're just entertaining a drunk audience, anyways. It's not like you're showcasing your heartfelt songs,
Yeah.
you know. So we got good at that, and that's just how you get good as a band. You know, you learn to improvise and do all those cool things. And
And then segueing in, tell me a little bit about the trajectory from Seal Rock to Sunchild.
Sunchild was the band after Seal Rock.
That's what I thought. I
Yeah,
thought
and-
and how did it go from?
That was because of a guy named Damian Bronner. He took Odie's spot on drums. So Odie bounced. He had to go and live his life. However, I think he moved to Arizona and moved out of state and got like a sick job somewhere.
Okay.
And he had kids, and he was just at that. He was ahead of us already. None
Older,
of us had
yeah.
kids and stuff like that. But yeah, so Odie had to bounce, and then Damian Bronner came in, and he was a drummer and also like a concert promoter.
Yeah, because I know I know him from early. He was in a band called Secret Service.
Yeah.
Which later became another
The
iteration
Movement,
called The Movement.
Which Paul Pontius came
Paul
from.
Pontius was in
Yeah.
that. Steve Clifton was in that.
You know all those guys. Sandy
was in it.
Mackey.
Sandy Mackey.
Yeah.
Doug Harlow.
Doug Harlow.
Yeah, that was their. And James. I don't know his last name, but James was a guitarist.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was their band, and Damien kind of came from that.
Yeah.
And then so then Damien showed up to the party.
Yeah, so Bronner showed up to the party, and he had all kinds of big ideas.
Yes, he does. Always.
Because that's just what he does. He's an
does,
idea
yeah.
guy, and he throws a lot of lines in the water, you know.
does.
And it's pretty cool
It
because
is really cool.
some of them stick, you know.
Yeah.
And so that one kind of stuck with me because he had been kind of playing with a few different bands. Like Sweet Polyester and the Platforms was his concept for a 70s disco band, which they were amazing,
Huge,
right?
yeah.
And that was like a family band with the Harris family,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
were just, dude, as good as it gets, you know.
As good as it gets. We
And-
can't really talk about music in South County without
Without
talking
about Sweet Polly
Wow.
and the Harris family.
The
you
Harris
know,
family.
The whole family from top to bottom.
Just
it's
insane,
amazing.
right? Just
And
the
that's a
whole Harris
generational
family.
thing too
Whoa.
now we're talking about because the kids,
Jeez. You know,
anyways.
just the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, the
Or
Harrises.
Gerald, was it James?
James, the older brother.
Gerald.
There's Julie.
Julie,
Who-
Janine.
Janine.
You know, it just goes on. And now the kids, it's just, you know.
And now the kids are carrying on with the family tradition. So
Jonah.
Jonah.
Just
is
incredible,
badass,
right?
yeah.
So
all of them.
It's incredible, yeah.
All of
incredible
them.
family. Giving it up to the
There's a
Harris
lot
family.
of J's.
I think it's all J's.
There's a lot of J's going down.
Jonah, James, Gerald, Janine,
The whole side,
Julie,
both
it's all
sides.
J.
Everybody that had a kid
Jay
just
Harris.
went Jay. Your name's Jay. Sorry.
It's just Jay. But yeah, so talented, and you're in the
Yeah.
mix with all this.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
And Damien was like playing with Sunchild, this other band, right?
tell me a little bit about who that. What?
That was a guy named Donavon Frankenreiter.
Also a surfer.
Pro surfer, right? At the time, a young talent, super
Yeah.
used to surf the pier a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
And his 3 buddies from Santa Barbara. They were 2 brothers, Joel and Scott Owen. They were really beautiful harmony singers and songwriters. And there's something about brothers when they sing together. There's like there's a DNA texture to their vocals that
that makes sense.
Can't be duplicated, right?
Yeah.
You can hit that high harmony part, but it doesn't sound like Joel and Scott hitting those high harmonies because there's a DNA in there that you can't run from, you know?
That's a cool
So
point.
that was a special sound. That was like a captivating sound, was those guys singing together.
Okay.
And they had another kid from New York, a punk rocker named Tristan.
Okay.
He's changed his last name a bunch because he just does stuff, but his real name's Tristan.
Okay.
That I know him as
let's
has
call
always
him
be Tristan, but he was an amazing bass player and a great vocalist.
Amazing.
Like picture the bass player from the Eagles.
Oh,
He
wow.
kind of looked like that, or was it? I forget which band it was.
Doobie
but-
Brothers or the
Poco. Remember the bass player
Poco,
from
yeah,
Poco?
Poco, yeah.
So he took the Eagles spot, but he looked like that. He sang like that. He played like that.
Yeah,
He was
it's a similar
that
thing.
guy.
Poco
And
and
so
the
those guys had a vibe. And Damien was in bed with those guys, and he could see what was happening there. There was energy, and there was stuff going on with that group. And there was Donavon, who brought in a huge surfing culture opportunity, right?
Yeah, connected well.
Yeah,
with
he
the
was
surf
totally
thing,
connected.
right?
He was a
riding
pro
for
surfer. He
Billabong
was
at the
always
time?
he was riding for Billabong his
Yeah.
whole career.
Yeah.
He was a one guy, one
One
you
shot.
know, for the
He
most
didn't
part.
switch over, yeah.
Not really. No,
That was smart.
He was kind of a career Billabong guy, sort of
Yeah.
like Aki, you know, where
Yeah.
it's just he had one sponsor.
Yeah.
And they took great care of him, and he was the free surfer, you know. So he brought this tremendous amount of opportunity when it aligned with the world tour, the professional, the ASP at the time, right? Before it was the WSL.
Yeah.
So basically what we were doing was Damien was saying, hey, there's a missing link in this band that I see. Donovan's a great promoter. He's a great guitar player. He's an awesome guy. You know, everyone loves him. He's just got charisma, and he's a beautiful human. And the other 2 fantastic singers with the third part bass player who was locked in. They were all going to school in Santa Barbara together. Damien and I were in a peripheral band, and we had chemistry together because we could read each other's minds musically. You know, he just knew what was coming, and I knew what was coming next. So we were already confident that him and I, as the 2 of us. So he wrote me in and was like, hey, do you want to do this recording? They have this record deal on the line. They need a lead guitarist to fill the gap and play all these slide guitar parts and shit that these guys can't do. Do you want to do it? And I was like, hell yeah, I'll do that. You know what I mean?
No brainer.
Yeah, totally. I was
Yeah.
down for any opportunity
Come
at the
on.
time. So hungry and
Yeah.
jobless. Just like, dude, are you serious? Yeah, like,
hold on.
yes. So
Yeah.
I went and did that
Where do I
recording with a Surf Dog recording artist. It was
Okay.
Gary Ho. He was the producer.
I remember that.
Yeah, and we did our little live record at this
Cool.
place called The Mint in LA.
Okay.
And I was fresh in the band. I didn't even know the songs. I was just playing from
Just
the
jumped
hip.
in.
Just jumped in from the hip, dude. Which could have been an advantage in a way because I was just like, I'm leaning on whatever I got. I don't know these songs.
But you know,
And I had Damien as my backbone. I could lean on him too because he was
he was on
solid.
the kit, right?
Yeah, and he was on the
Yeah,
kit.
yeah.
And I knew Donavon from surfing, so we had culture already. We had chemistry.
Cool.
And so, you know, that was cool. And that's where it all started, was that record. Because then we got offered to go on the Warp Tour. After we made that record, the Warp Tour was in its first year. We
that's a
did not
moment in
fit the
life,
bill,
right?
right? We're a hippie band, and it's all punk
Hippie
rockers,
surfers and
dude.
punk,
We were
yeah.
scared shitless.
Yeah.
But it was an opportunity, and it was
Yeah.
the biggest opportunity we had ever had, you know,
Totally.
as a young band who
Totally.
was just, we were weeks into this. We had a record deal
And all
on
of a sudden,
tour.
boom.
So I had to leave to rock, it was
Probably tough.
terrifying for me.
Yeah, tough.
There's a loyalty thing with me. I'm
Sure.
a fucking Labrador, dude, to the
Sure.
core, you know.
But you also have to be loyal to, you know, the
But it was an
journey.
opportunity as well.
Yeah,
And as
can't do
badly
that.
as I felt, I was like, dude, you know what? I'll be back.
I'll be
Like,
back, and I'll
sweet.
bring more energy back in next time.
That
I
was
come.
my mentality. I'm like,
very
I'm
much.
going satellite, you guys. You got this.
And then I'll come back and
I'll
we'll
come
see
back
what we
and
can
we'll
do.
see what we can do, you
Yeah.
know? So that took a big chunk of my life out on the road
Yeah,
traveling.
yeah.
And Donavon brought us so much opportunity with travel.
How
and
many years did you do
I
that?
think we did that from like 97. We cut the record. and we ended up splitting ways about 2002.
Solid 4 or 5 year gig,
Just
traveling
touring,
the
yeah,
world,
just
traveling the United States. What an experience for you.
You know, we did probably 3 domestic tours with the Warp thing, and then a couple international ones where we got to go to Japan, Hawaii.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Australia,
I
New
think
Zealand.
that there's a lot to be said.
France, Spain, we did all that.
Musician comes from San Clemente and jumps on this thing.
Yes, dude. For me, it was a dream come true.
Yeah.
It was my dream come true.
Really cool.
So that was really cool, I was so distracted with that, I forgot about San Clemente for a minute,
Hey.
Just because of what's in front. You're in France on a beach, with naked girls. And
Spain,
it's like,
and
dude, this is amazing.
Yeah.
We got a gig tonight.
Yeah.
And there's Laird pulling in at Chopu that first time.
Yeah.
And we're in France watching that on the big screen.
Yeah.
Dude, the world's changing. Like,
Whoa.
everything's changing, And so we felt like we were on the way.
And part of that change.
Yeah, and part of that change too, because we had the World Tour Circus, which is such a traveling
It's a traveling
bubble,
circus. Yeah,
if you will.
It's a bubble.
It's a small bubble, as it moves, but it's
bubble.
big when you're in it. It
Yeah.
feels big when you're in it.
Well, yeah.
Different back then because they didn't have webcasting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was still a thing. It was
Yeah.
happening, and
Yeah.
so that's how we got into professional musicianship.
Cool.
Was like, oh, we're getting paid good money to do these gigs, and not on the Warped Tour,
But
we
just,
had little lunch passes. But I do have really fond memories though of eating lunch with all of those punk rock heroes of mine that I didn't ever get to see or
Social
talk
D
to.
ever play on
Yeah,
that?
Social Distortion was the headliner. Mike Ness.
gosh.
I used to play this game called CeeLo. It's like rolling dice, and it would be like Mike Ness and all the roadies, and we'd be behind the buses and I'm looking and it's Mike Ness, and I'm rolling dice with Mike Ness, and you see him fucking
It's just,
his
I don't
gambling take over, and it's some German blue-haired roadie like, I'll take your Les Paul from you, and he's like, you're on.
Oh boy.
So he throws the dice, and I watched Mike Ness lose his gold top, 57 gold top, to this roadie, a German roadie of a band called Die Totenhosen. They used to riddle me. They'd be like, we would never have acoustic guitar. We are a rock and roll band. We never have acoustic guitar. You
Well,
are
that
puny,
makes sense,
man. But
it
anyways,
makes sense, right?
at any
Punk
rate.
and acoustic sounds, not really. But I mean, I could say this, like, I'm not really a punk guy. I like a little bit of it, but Mike Ness.
I have a good Mike Ness story if you want to hear it real quick.
I do want to hear
Okay, so we're in Pittsburgh. We're on the Warped Tour. We're sweating balls. We're starving. We're sick of our lunch passes. So we're like, we're going to downtown to the strip clubs.
To Pittsburgh?
Yeah, and we're going to get our free lunch. Because then if you're early, there's a buffet lunch, all you can eat. Right? So we'd go in there, and Damien used to call, let's get into character, boys. So we put our vinyl jackets on. We go to the strip club. We eat our free lunch, all you can eat. Everyone's just horking food. Dancers, schmancers. We're just like, you know. And then we sit there and blah, blah, blah for a second. And then we're like, oh, I know what to do. We'll invite a couple of these girls back. We'll like, they didn't know who we were, nor did they care. But we were like, do you guys like Social Distortion? And they're like, oh my God, we love Social Distortion. They're all tats and like
We're
sick
playing
girls,
with
you know.
them.
Yeah, exactly. We're on the Warped Tour with them. Come with us, ladies. So we bring back 3 of the girls. Mike is in his bus. He won't come out of his bus. He's fucking totally depressed because he lost his Les Paul to this roadie. And it's just like the darkest hour for him of his life, And we show up with these 3 strippers, right? And we're like on his bus. Mr. Ness, and you go away. And it's like, no, Mr. Ness, we have someone really special wants to meet you, And the bus goes, slides open like Lord Vader, And the girls start to step in, and we're like trying to follow them in. As right as the third girl's like tush gets behind the door, they see the door go, and we're like, perfect, walk away, We're like, we're out. But we did see him the next day, kind of.
Seemed pretty stoked.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah,
I needed that.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, road stories are awesome. Sunchild,
That was a fun
the
one.
whole thing. Yeah. How do we get more like moving from Sunchild, as awesome as a chapter as that was?
Yeah, bitching.
Insane chapter.
Amazing.
What an awesome thing in life.
Yeah.
And then moving forward, how do we get closer to like modern era? What you're doing with music, like what
Yeah, where I am now.
Yeah, like I know there's a lot of time between Sunchild and now, though.
Well, absolutely.
So,
that was just a short period.
That was a short period, but
after Sunchild we kind of was like, we're burning out on each other. We were fighting over stupid things, like string winders and just trivial things. Yeah. We were we're frazzled, like a lot of bands get.
Totally.
You can only. They're like being married to 4 guys that you never get to sleep with, So there's no makeup sex ever. It's always just.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, well, it can get there's some bands out there.
Fruit Loop Farm.
Anyways, yeah, after that I decided I can't wait to be home. I can't wait to go back to San Clemente and and be at the beach and not have to go to Oklahoma to play a
Yeah.
game and go to Barstow for 6 hours later, you know. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, I miss the beach.
Yeah, and
a lot of the
and
venues,
lifestyle, you know?
a lot of the venues were located at, dude, the world-class waves, but a lot of them weren't.
For the
band, right?
Yeah,
so we spent a lot of years just going from dirt to dirt, and there's no ocean in sight. And for someone who's kind of like, I need saltwater salvation, you know. My friend Johnny calls it saltwater salvation.
Makes sense.
And
It's
it
a
really
baptism,
is.
you
It
know?
really is.
Yeah.
You know, for certain people, for me, it is absolutely. But I was so stoked to be home and get a normal job and be with my girlfriend and go to the same bed every night and have just like I got my San Clemente life back again. That's cool. You know, so that was nice. And I got into you know, back into the trades basically.
Okay.
Carpentry, doing stuff like that, and having my peripheral bands on the side, doing a lot of studio work. Coming off a good run, you know, so I had some traction as a musician. You know, I was like,
I would say so.
hey, you know what I mean?
Kinda
So
rock
I was
star
getting
material.
cool opportunities with different artists and stuff. I would play on people's records a lot, you know?
Yeah.
Like I've played on a lot of,
stuff, you know? Like,
no, nobody famous or anything, but
just
like
people
just
on the way.
artists, that were, dude, can you come play on my record? I'm like, hell yeah, you know? And so
a
I
whole
did
new
a lot of
chapter of
that.
experience, you know?
That was
Yeah.
kind of a neat thing for me because I really identify with that. There was everything was in the studio, behind the scenes. There was no stage performing. There was no rock star sort of persona or expectation. I could just be a great musician, like the Wiz behind the, behind the screen, which it was perfect fit for me.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I remember that chapter.
You know what I
remember
mean?
you
So
feeling real good about that.
I got into that, and I always sort of, I kind of romanticized the idea of being a studio musician. I was like, oh, that's like the sickest job ever, right?
Totally.
You know? So I did that. I dabbled with it and the trades too. Got good at doing that stuff, and then, I don't know. I just fell in love with that girl that stuck with me. You know, Tara, my wife. She had stuck with me through all of that havoc. She was always by my side through that whole thing.
A lot to be said for that.
A lot to be said for that. That's when I had that realization of like, oh my gosh, this woman is the one. You know, I'm gonna marry this girl.
And
then
Hammy and just
Yep, all that. So
Good
that's what
chapter.
started that. Once I had a wife and an ambition to have a child and do all that, I
different
felt
chapter.
like and my dad passed away too, which was huge. I had kind of felt like a boy. I thought I was a man until my dad passed away. And then I realized I was a boy the whole time. And once he passed, I kind of became a man.
Yeah.
Just by the ritual of it.
The osmosis of the whole
the way
reality,
it went, whoa,
Yeah.
I'm over here now. I'm the last man standing.
And you don't have him to call on. It's
No,
like it's just,
only your
you just have to
memories and your
stand on feet
experiences,
and the stuff he taught you and stuff.
So that was brutality because
Yeah.
we went to Tahiti, Tara and I, on our honeymoon, and we had a brand new Labrador Retriever, Kona, my doggy. And I left him with my dad, and I was like, dude, whatever you do, just don't let him sleep on the bed, Dad. And he was like, no problem, I got it.
Oh, boy.
So I get home, and my mom's like, he slept on the bed every night.
Oh, boy.
I was like, great, I got a dog in my bed now. But it was classic because, unfortunately, he passed shortly after that of just a massive heart attack, and it was one of those things that sort of hits you in a way where you're like, dude, mortality is real. Like,
Yes.
I need to be in the best shape of my life, dude. I've got heart disease in my family. Like,
Oh, okay.
this is gnarly.
Sure.
Like, who's that runner? Jim
Lance,
No, remember the guy who died of a heart attack? He was like a runner. Jim Fix, maybe?
maybe.
Anyways.
From our town?
Kind of ironic. No, like
just
a world
a big
famous
wo- oh,
runner
yeah,
that
okay.
was like, he was like a,
Ironic.
yeah, that's kind of weird, But I was like, oh crap, like
Yeah.
mortality is real, and my grandparents had passed and my father had passed, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get healthy.
I mean, it's kind of like
You
that
know?
moment when, remember John Kachesi and he had San Clemente bikes forever?
Yeah.
And he died riding his bike down by Sanos. It's like
Yeah.
a trippy.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's a trippy, right? But I guess if you do something so much that you increase the chances you would pass during doing it because you do it so much.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, mathematically, but
Dude, I should have ripped my sleeves off before I came into
It's
this
pretty
interview.
warm in
Kind
here.
of like you. Should we do it?
Yeah, rip
no,
them
I don't
off.
have that kind of strength.
I mean,
but anyways,
so
where
anyway,
were we?
yeah, I mean, here we are.
Oh yeah, family life. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Josh, that's where Josh came into my life too. He'd always been in my life
Sure.
as a surf pro and
Yeah.
just a sweet dude that lived across the street from me. But I started my little family, and he offered me a job at his surf camp.
Oh, that's right.
So I was like, and my wife is
Summer Soul Surf Camp?
Yes.
Josh Baxter?
Yes,
Yeah,
Josh
yeah.
Baxter and Chris Barnum.
At Summer
They
Soul
got
Surf
it from
Camp.
Mophead.
Yeah, for the Mop Doctor.
Mophead was the Mop Doctor, and then,
Yeah, and they just came in and muscled it over. Anyway,
they did.
so
They
then,
muscled their way in there.
they got it.
Big, cheap. So anyways, it was family, man. I was at the beach with my newborn. My wife's a litigation paralegal. She's sharp. I'm as sharp as a pinball. So she's like, you know what I mean? She's on fire.
Oh my God.
So it's nice to have that balance in our family, of
Yeah.
like ding dong and then sharp as tacks.
Sure.
Because in the middle, there's a nice round over
Then it becomes
point.
tack dong.
That's why we've been together for so long,
It's
defying
a nice
statistics.
balance, the extremes, yeah.
It is. It's cool.
And somehow it works, and she makes it work, and you make it
We
work.
make it work.
It's good stuff.
But anyways, I spent the next 10 years at that camp with my daughter, and thank God to all those moms down there, because it's pretty emasculating to have a baby pushed in front of you. As a guy who's like thinks he's a wannabe rock star, and now it's like, no, you're a stay-at-home dad. Here's the milk. Good luck with this. I got to go make the fucking bread, And I was like,
I remember that phase.
Shit.
Yeah.
This is new.
I remember
and
that
I embraced
stage,
it because I had lost my
did.
father, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna be the raddest
Do
dad
this.
ever. Yeah.
I remember.
So that was a cool time, and I was healthy because I was at surf camp. I was
Yeah.
getting really strong from
Yeah.
towing kids around all day, every day, and it was
Absolutely.
it was a beautiful place for a little girl to grow up.
Totally.
Because
Every
there was a
summer,
lot of
down
moms on the
yeah,
beach, and so it was good for me too, because I could be like, Mom, and they'd see the look in my eyes. I'd be pumping South Swell, Santos. You know how it gets down there. It's
Sure,
blue
it's
and
good,
dreamy,
yeah.
and I'd just be, whoa, and they'd be like, give me the baby,
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah.
So it was a godsend to have Baxter family and Barnum
cool.
family, be part of my life for those solid 10 years
Sure,
of surf
that's a
camp
big
life
chapter,
and
you
raising
know?
that little girl
Yeah.
up,
Yeah, and then as we move forward, I would say, here we are, kind of heading through that into the current, which is, I guess, what kind of music stuff you?
So what happened in those 10 years on the beach basically was, like I said, I don't really identify as a songwriter. I've
Sure.
always been a support musician
Oh, okay, that's fair.
and a lead guitarist, really, like,
Yeah.
filling in the gaps and having the chops to be confident, and do all
Yeah.
that stuff. And
That's very seeable.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was that's who I identified with as a player. I was like, okay, I got this. And then the little girl in my life became a muse. I didn't realize it, but she was a muse for all these songs. I had a collection of 10 or 15 tunes that I wrote maybe one a year on accident in the water, just surfing, having fun with the kids. And a little rhyme or a riddle would come into my head and I would remember it, scratch it down in the van on the beach, and then save it for later and go home and be like, no way, I got something, dude. I wrote a song, like, no way. So after 10 years, I had 10 of them, which leads us to now we're in the pre-production of a record. It's long overdue, but it's like the band that I founded with all of my original buddies, Jerome Waitman, Justin Carr, Marcus Gonzalez, and those three guys are the backbone, the rhythm section, and I'm the lead guitarist, but now I'm the lead singer as well.
Of what band?
Trolsen County Brothers is what we
Okay,
call ourselves.
okay.
Yeah, like I said, it's a fictitious place, so
Right.
you can't look it up.
But it's real to you guys.
But it's real to us. It doesn't get any realer.
Yeah, that's
because
really
we
cool.
decided that Trolsen County is rich in spirit, not in wealth.
Mm-hmm.
We're a place where you always get a hot meal. Friend, someone a shoulder to lean on, someone to fuck, today was a rough day. So we started identifying as this core group of men that were getting older, and you look around and you're like, wait, nobody has any friends, dude. Like all the friends are gone. You know how it was back in the day. We'd show up and it was boom.
Packs of-
We were all there.
Yeah.
And
Little by
as
little,
time
they've
goes
all-
by, it's just birdies fly away,
Sure.
And you go back down there and you're like, dude, no one's here, but like, there's red, like, sick. There's ochre, like,
Yeah.
but it's not like it was where it was like
Oh,
boom, like
gosh.
on, and everybody was on tour and it was like pulsing,
Yeah.
So we found that spirit in all these older dudes. We were like, dude, we got a lot of good close friends, you guys, and it's all around the band and the music, and we're gonna hang on tight to this, because this is special.
Super cool thing to do.
Yeah,
and just
so
a
that's
rad
where Trolsen County,
incarnation,
Yeah, it just formed really organically. Not to say that word too much, but it was just a natural kind of thing. But we had a realization of like, oh, you see all these statistics and like men over 50 or 40 or have one friend if they're lucky, or most are silently suffering and all these weird shit. We're like, fuck that,
Yeah.
we're thriving boisterously, you know?
Cool.
So we had that, and that's kind of the foundation of our band.
Cool.
And our clubhouse, where Jerome lives, we have a clubhouse, and it's basically a surf museum. You look on the ceiling, it's Archie's board, Andy Iron's board, you know, Roy Gonzalez drawings, old surf spot signs. It's like our tribute to where we came from, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a really neat place. When you see, when
local
newcomers come in, they're just like, oh my God, it's like a museum in here, you know?
Which is cool.
We hold on to that, you know, that tradition and that family, that community. So that's the huge part of what's happening in this band, is a sense for that, you know, and not only just the immediate band members, but the community at large, with other local musicians and other neighbors that want to come sing their song.
Yeah.
So in the gigs that I've been doing lately, I kind of had this, I was like, well, this is cool. Let's make it friends and family. Like, how do you engage with an audience that, you know, what about friends and family? So I bring up special guests is my thing, which I have a lot of fun with. I bring up really young, great, talented players.
But also I know Alex is, you know, Aaron sings in the band once in a while.
Ernie.
Yeah.
Yeah, our dear friend Ernie has got some pipes on her. She's got shower pipes, so she's still coming out of the woodworks, you know?
Yeah.
But she's got a beautiful voice, and we're stoked to have her. And that was kind of the beginning of Friends and Family, and a bunch of other people too.
Not just her, yeah.
But it kind of feeds the idea where I was like, this is cool, man. If I can just do gigs and not try and be cool, but bring in the whole community, and we'll do some fun covers. And I saw the magnetic attraction to that. Like, the whole room was now engaged. And I was like, this is way easier than me trying to deliver these 10, you know, heartfelt, melodramatic songs.
Yeah. It's a little lighter.
It's a lot.
Bringing other people in.
You see people like kind of wander out and, you know, disconnect. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm going to
pull them in.
Yeah, pull them in.
Yeah, create the magnetic energy. You know?
But I also had a lot of great artists tell me, don't play cover songs, you know, play your original material. Focus on original material. Write songs. Don't just be a cover band. And I'm like, that's cool, but it's hard to get people's attention without something familiar, you know?
Yeah. Well, so also, it's your take on those songs. You don't just copy them.
No.
You do your version of it, which makes it interesting again. You know, it's really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we've been doing that. We got this sick band. We're in pre-production for the record of the 10 songs.
Cool.
We've, you know, and we've been doing gigs around town to get our chops down. And also, that friends and family thing is super important to me, because I see the value in it in the community, and I have a different sense now. Yeah. Everything's so important now, you know? It's like, where I didn't care before. I was like, no, it's us. You know?
Also, as we get older, there's something about that sense of urgency.
There is.
You know, in a weird way.
Yeah, you got to make your days count, dude.
You just feel like, you know, I haven't done it yet. Like, I haven't, jeez.
Kashmir, Led Zeppelin.
Physical graffiti. I thought I turned that off. But what I'm saying is so I was going to see if you'd play a song for us today.
I would love to play a song today.
And why don't you intro the song, and then after we're done, we'll talk a little more.
Well, I have the one I'm going to play, which we're going to do a song called Hey There Baby. This is written about our experience in San Clemente, and it's what's fun about this song is that you're kind of an inspiration for the song, because over the years, you know, the Cave Doctor had you're basically a comedy skit when I would show up at T Street as a young kid.
With beef salad?
You had a fucking, like, some kind of crazy car. I want to say it was a Hearst.
No.
It was a black.
Check it out.
It was a
Johnny
dope car.
Monster had the Hearst.
Right.
I had the limo slide, which was an Oldsmobile 98. Insane car.
Dude,
but
you had the blonde fro.
And then after that, I had a baby blue 1967 Cadillac limousine that was baby blue. But the black one was the limo slide, and I called the blue one the limo glide.
And we had caught you throwing TVs off the Dana Hills. Oh my God, killer Dana.
And then I would run into you guys.
And we'd run into you, and at the time, you were shirtless, leather jacket, bronze, just...
Never owned a leather jacket, but I knew where you were going.
It was.
I never had a leather jacket once.
It was something. It was maybe one of those.
Yeah.
It was probably cut off.
I don't leather me. It just
maybe I made that up.
It's all good. I like to bringing it up.
My memories are what's important.
But here's the thing. So
my memory.
We're gonna hear a song.
We're gonna hear a song,
and you're gonna
it's called Hey There Baby, and it's just a playful song.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And let's break for the song, and then also when we come back, let's talk a little bit about it.
All right, you got it. baby, don't say maybe. Spread your wings and fly like a lady. You're a pretty mama, we don't want no drama. I'm gonna work that skirt, gonna work that skirt. Hey there baby, don't say maybe. Spread your wings and fly like a lady. You're a pretty mama, we don't want no drama. I'm gonna work that skirt, gonna work that skirt. Papa got left alone, 'cause there ain't nobody home. And the papa got left alone on a Sunday afternoon. I can't afford sleeping with you. I can't afford sleeping with you. Hey there, baby, don't say maybe. Spread your wings and fly like a lady. You're a pretty mama, we don't want no drama. I'm gonna work that skirt, I'm gonna work that skirt, yeah. Hey there, baby, don't say maybe. Spread your wings and fly like a lady. You're a pretty mama, we don't want no drama. I'm gonna work that skirt, gonna work that skirt, yeah. Papa got left alone, 'cause there ain't nobody home. And Papa got left alone on a Sunday afternoon. I can't afford sleeping with you. I can't afford sleeping with you. I'm going to do one more. This song's called I Tell You What. This song was born of friends and family, and when you are down and out, you have someone to lean on. And that's what we're all about here, man. It's leaning on our friends and family. So this one's called I Tell You What. I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend that turns you around when your chips are down. And I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. He lends you a hand when you're in the quicksand. Sometimes you hit the reef, sometimes you get spun out. Don't let it bring you down, just paddle back out. Sometimes you hit the reef, sometimes you get spun out. You ain't never caught a wave from the beach, so you better paddle out. And I tell you what, I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. He lends you a hand when you're in the quicksand. And I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. They turn you around when your ship's going down. Sometimes we hit the reef, sometimes we get spun out. Don't let it bring you down, just paddle back out, yeah. Sometimes we hit the reef, sometimes we get spit out. You ain't never caught a wave from the beach, so you better paddle out. And I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. He lends you a hand when you're in the quicksand. And I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. He turns you around when your shit's going down. In deep water we swim together. In deep water we swim forever. I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. He turns you around when your ship's going down. And I tell you what, ain't nothing like a good friend. He lends you a hand when you're in the quicksand. I tell you what.
Yeah, Hammy, that was sick.
Thank
oh
you
my
so
gosh,
much
man.
for-
No, thank you, mister.
My pleasure to be here. This is a real privilege to be here and getting to play my songs for the internet. And
Oh
you
my
guys,
gosh.
too.
Just what a
So-
cool song. I just dug the whole vibe of that song. And
Thank you.
And I just dug you being in here playing. I'm stoked the audience gets to check that vibe
Yeah.
of what we're doing here,
Absolutely.
Because we're sharing our creativity and our passions.
Right.
And that's a tangible way for you to share that with us. And I really appreciate it. I thought that song
Yeah.
was insane. I was over there just grooving.
Awesome. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
it's good.
enjoyed it.
Great rhythm, great vibe, great lyrics.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, mister.
I can't wait to share it with the world once it's recorded live
Absolutely.
with our band, the Trolsen County Brothers band.
Well, you know what? Did we want to mention any of just before we run out?
I feel like I missed a couple people, but
Let's just throw a quick bone to was it
I
Meals?
want to throw a quick bone to my dear friend Craig Melia.
Such an inspiration for you.
A huge inspiration. My neighbor growing up right down the street, and his family, awesome family. My dear friend Justin Fuller, my health and wellness coach,
and
that got
another
me-
musician.
and
All these
another
are musicians,
musician
right?
that was so gracious in allowing me the opportunity to step into his world and share my musical abilities with him and all of his amazing songs. So he's one to check out. Fuller, and there's Cole Simler, my surfboard shaper.
Yeah,
The Simler
cool.
family. I love them.
Yeah.
And they keep us going on the water.
Yeah.
Going fast and hard like we need to be
He's
doing.
been shaping awesome surfboards for decades now.
So we want to thank him too, and all the other folks that probably aren't going to get mentioned, but you can't. There's too many to get in one sesh. But you're in my heart and in my flesh and blood. So thank you so much.
Yeah, all of them. I want to throw in there a little bit too. We talked about so many different bands. I don't know when we mentioned Sacred Haze.
Sacred Haze.
Did we mention Thorny?
Rick Thornsley, David Haycraft, David
Yes.
Driver, rest in peace.
Yes, that group.
Okay, those guys are a special group of people.
For real.
And highly influential musically.
In this town.
Yeah, my Led Zeppelin.
Oh my gosh.
And
then also we mentioned Johnny Monster, and I just
We
really want to
did.
make sure we touch base on David Paskowitz.
David
what an amazing
Paskowitz.
Just amazing.
Amazing performer,
Just
vocalist,
And then,
and a human being.
Shane Anderson,
Shane
the bassist.
Anderson,
What an
my
awesome
neighbor
dude.
to this day.
Yes. What
You
an
know, we
awesome
live
dude.
right down the street from each other, and I love him
Awesome
and his
dude.
wife. They're awesome people.
I was just over there at his house seeing his dad, Bob, who you know is a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
And I just really visited them recently. That was awesome. And I know we're also would be mentioning Sean Spencer on the drums for that band.
He's a freak show.
And we, you know,
Hi,
what
Sean,
an awesome
out in Portugal.
Yeah, Sean. And then also,
We want to come.
hello. And then I just, you know, we did touch on John Fields, but
Yeah,
wow.
yeah. John
Right?
Fields gave me, when John Fields tapped out, I lived in his room, but he also gave me his Fender Twin reverb. And 20 years later, maybe 15 years later, I had it in good keeping, and I used it. It was my main amp. And John had, hey, do you think maybe I could have that amp back? And I was like, bro, I'd be honored to get it back into your hands. So I know he still has it because it's the best amp ever.
That's amazing.
The Fender Twin reverb.
And then you just recently did a gig. It was really cool. We're just about to shut this down, but before we do, I want to mention this gig. Recently, you did a gig over there at Jabroni's, right? Jabroni's.
Yeah.
And you did you guys opened up. You and Joshua Paskowitz
Yes,
opened up.
that's right.
Doing kind of like a Zeppelin acoustic.
We did.
Oh, like what is it called? Like Unplugged.
Yep.
With you on guitar and Joshua
Yep.
Paskowitz
I was
singing.
Jimmy and he was Robert.
Oh my gosh.
So I played Jimmy, he played Robert.
We walked into that. Crystal and I walked into that to see that gig. We came early because we knew you guys were going to open up. And we went and saw that. And we were just like, oh, man, that made the night for me right out of the gate.
Rad.
Then
I'm so glad.
Our friend who's actually doing all our social media for Twin Palms Entertainment, all the shows we do, everything.
Yeah.
Retta, her daughter played the second show. And I think everyone
She was amazing.
Amazing,
dude. The
right?
whole building was off the hook.
On their performance. And they are Dead Tension is their name.
Dead
kind
Tension.
of a rock punk kind of,
They
I
were
don't know.
sick. They were
super sick band. Just got to throw a plug out there to them.
Absolutely.
And then
Dead
as we end
Tension.
up on the formulation of a lot of these bands we talked about end up being in this band now, from Jesus Chrysler and
Yep.
from Warp, because
Right.
Billy Murphy was in
Yep.
Warp, and now there's Joshua Paskowitz,
Star Zero.
and Poppy, baby. Right,
let's
Poppy?
go, Poppy.
We know Poppy, Jeff Poppenhagen.
We love you, Poppy.
We love you. You're amazing in what you did. Such
Yes,
an amazing
he is.
bassist.
He's a leader. He's a natural-born leader.
Incredible bassist, leader, rad vibe.
Yeah.
Joshua Paskowitz, one of the amazing singers.
Freak
Just
show.
insane, right? The lineage of the whole Paskowitz thing. There's Adam. There's, the singers, right?
Still going.
Adam Paskowitz. I mean,
Yeah.
geez, right?
Got you where I want you.
Yeah, baby, yeah. I'm just saying, there's so much talent here, and the talent has gone over the world, and we're throwing it out there because you know what we do at Twin Palms Entertainment and Talk to the Doctor? We share the love. And here I am sharing the love with Mr. Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Hammy.
for
Good to
having
see
me,
you.
brother.
You.